Steve Scalise dropping out of the House Speaker race, leaving the House unable to pass any aid legislation to help Israel and fund the government ahead of this November 17 deadline. Join us right now with the latest. Punchbowl News' co-founder, Jake Sherman, and NBC News and MSNBC political contributor. Good morning to you. Scalise is out. Is Jordan in? Who's in? What are the? Just walk us through who's even possible at this point, Jake.
Sounded like a what's going on, Andrew, and that's a very good question. The government is in absolute chaos at the moment. The House Republicans are unable to rally around anybody, and it's actually fair at this point, Andrew, to say that there's a possibility that nobody could get the requisite votes to become Speaker of the House with just Republican support. So Scalise dropped out. Now, next up is Jim Jordan. We reported last night Jordan was making calls to Republicans to try to build support for his Speaker bid. But to be honest with you, Andrew, I don't know whether he could get there. There are a lot of moderates who are against Jordan, who don't believe that he is the right pick for Speaker. And the irony of this all is that at the end of the day, after conservative hardliners pushed Kevin McCarthy out, we could end up with a Patrick McHenry or someone like that, a relatively moderate House Republican, getting to the speakership with Democratic support. So after hardliners pushed McCarthy out because he's not conservative enough, you could end up with a speaker with Democratic support.
Walk us through the permutations, though, of what comes next, how long this can go on for. I mean, I imagine it can go on forever, technically, but and the idea of when McHenry would be a true possibility if that was to be the case.
Yeah, this could go on for weeks. There's no end in sight right now. We'll have to see how Jordan does today. He could call for a vote today. So what happens is Republicans need to go into a closed meeting and vote for their nominee, just like they did with Scalise, vote for their nominee for Speaker. If that person emerges from the conference, either with a majority vote or if they change the rules with 217 supporters, then they go to the floor and have to build support for 217 votes on the House floor. I would say, though, if this permutation doesn't work out, if this option doesn't work out, they're going to have to move to open the House of Representatives, which it's not open right now. They can't do anything. They're going to have to move with Democratic support at some point soon because this is getting ridiculous. The government shuts down in 30 days, just a little bit more than 30 days. Israel is going to need aid in the next couple of weeks, Republicans say. They need a Speaker of the House desperately.
Hey, Jake, what are the odds that, look, there are a couple of scenarios I could think of. Maybe they try and bring back Kevin McCarthy, even though that was brought up and he said, forget it, he's taking himself out of the running again. Maybe what's a more likely scenario, because it's a hard thing to imagine the two sides getting together and say, okay, we agree on supporting somebody to make them the new House Speaker. Maybe they just agree to give more and more powers to Patrick McHenry as the temporary Speaker, and that's how they get through for a very long time.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin's going to do it based on my conversations with people in his orbit and based on his public posture. I think McCarthy thinks once you leave, you got to go. And I think that's probably right. I do think that the next option, if Jordan can't get through, is moderate Republicans seeking some sort of compromise with Democrats to empower McHenry to be the Speaker, whether they call him Speaker of the House.
I was going to say to maybe not be the Speaker. This is a situation, I think of like Mick Mulvaney, who was the acting chief of staff for forever.
It's a little bit different, Becky, because this is a statutory obligation. They need to elect a Speaker to get legislation through the floor. They need to vote on it. In the House of Representatives, same in the Senate, you could basically do anything with majority support. So they could pass a bill with 218 votes that gives McHenry the power to move legislation. They can do that. So I would imagine that will be the next step, especially coming up on a government funding deadline. But just to reiterate what you and Andrew both asked, I mean, this could last a while, but the patience is running incredibly thin in the House Republican Conference because they said they wanted to spend this time passing bills, and they're spending this time fighting with each other, which is not ideal for Republicans.
Jake, I just want to go back to the McHenry possibility and try to understand how that would come together. What would need to happen for that to take place?
They need to come up with a piece of legislation that would explicitly. There's two paths, Andrew. Let's start with he could just be elected Speaker. He can't win Speaker with a Republican vote only, I don't think. because he was the architect of the debt limit deal, which conservatives hate. The other option is they could draw up legislation and pass it with Democratic support that says the Speaker pro tem can pass legislation and gavel in the House as normal and do all the things that the Speaker could do. Democrats are going to want something from that, though. They're going to want to say, well, you have to bring some of our bills to the floor. You have to give us seats on certain committees. They will exact a price for that. But it is possible. It's certainly possible. And I can tell you there are a lot of Republicans who are now talking on the record about this and are already talking to the House parliamentarian about how to put this into place.
Jake, it is good to see you. I don't know. I feel like we're going to see you every morning. I don't see how
I'm
this.
here for you, Andrew. I'm here
Thank
for
you.